Good evening. My name is Sierra Branch. I did my policy advocacy video on police brutality. Um, I'm gonna give you a brief summary of police brutality. Police brutality is abuse of authority by an unwanted infliction of excessive force by personal involved in law enforcement while performing their official duties. While the term police brutality is usually applied to a person in the context of causing physical harm to a person, it may also involve psychological harm through the use of intimidation force tactics beyond the scope of officially sanctioned police procedures. I technically didn't pick a story or a topic because I feel like the names that I'm about to call all dealt with police brutality. For example, Trayvon Martin, Eric Gardner, Sandra Bland, Botham Jean, Tatiana Jefferson, Philando Castile, Michael Brown, Tamir Rice have all dealt with police brutality, which led them to be killed by police in this day. So identify the current police policies that is related to your story. I also use just to name a few. Addressing the police misconduct law enforced will be by the DOJ, which is the policy as far as excessive force is found under the Fourth Amendment, and then police brutality prohibit on cruel and unusual punishment is the Eighth Amendment. Those right there fall under that policy, and I know exactly for Michael Brown, and actually all of them that I named have dealt with excessive force, especially Eric Gardner. He dealt with some in police brutality. All of them dealt with some, and I just named a few, but it's actually more people than that. I just wanted to give some examples of people who were in the spotlight. Even all of them were in the spotlight, but those really touched me with that story, and actually all of them did. Explain the current policy addresses with targeting social issues. I believe that the policy used force infrequently, the kinds of police action that most abuse to public concerns. They don't follow their policy like they should. And I looked up something that dealt with the color of law that really struck me, and that rule, that policy, I'm still trying to do some research on it because in my heart it doesn't sit well. That police have either made up that law or tried to come up with a law that they can use on African Americans. Have you mostly noticed that a lot of African Americans deal with a lot of police brutality, and the police officers who have done the action on our current people who are no longer living either are not convicted or they get a short time. 10 years, 5 years, probation. But they never get a full sentence. So that right there really touches me a lot, because I feel like they should get justice should be served for each one of them. Discuss the strength and weaknesses of the current policy to address the stories. I feel like each one of those police brutalities that happened to Sandra Bland or Eric Gardner, those could have been handled differently and could have been handled in such a way that they still will be living today. And that goes for all of them. Michael Brown, Tamir Rice, something, and especially Botham Jean. I'm just like, what was the point? So I feel like if the police strengthen their policy and go by their rules and handle situations different, it would cut out and minimize a lot of police brutality. The weaknesses are, it deals with a lot of people mentally and psychologically, and it does a lot of harm to them as well. So I feel like instead of adding more fuel to a fire, handle it the proper way, the proper protocol, and today we will still be having the people who are now deceased because of police brutality. I also have some more questions as well. Discuss the recommendation for the policy change. It can become very detrimental to people psychologically, at a psychological standpoint. It can also be a big factor to people in their mental health as well. And that's just like I just stated, that it can really mess up, especially the families who have to deal with this type of thing. It can really mess with them mentally and psychologically. So I feel like if it's a different way the police can handle these situations, it can help out a lot, and especially in the community as well. Discuss how social workers can promote these changes. Social workers can working with the police by getting them in the community more, talking more with the children in the schools and adults in the community, so that they can at least build a relationship and some type of trust can be gained as far as the community and the police officers and children and the police officers, so they won't be scared. So it's different ways that different things can happen, especially for younger kids, because I know a lot of kids are not frightened to be with around police officers. So that is my take on police advocacy. Thank you.